I've done it. I finally figured out the reason why you're not sleeping at night. You're trying to figure out why your avocado starts turning brown when you cut into it. Well, in today's video we're going to take a look at why that happens, and it has to do with the chemicals inside the avocado. Thanks again for joining another video. So first off, the sponsorship is not by Avocados of Mexico, although it should be. However, this all has to do with the avocado. So maybe you're cutting it, you're making guacamole, you're making, I don't know, guacamole on toast. I guess that's the hip thing to do. Or maybe you're just tossing it on a salad. Either way, you may have noticed that if you leave it sit long enough, it starts turning brown. So that nice inside yellow color, green color, starts turning brown, and you're like, why? It comes down to a chemical reaction happening. Now inside the avocado, right, we have what's called phenols. Alright, basically they're a compound, and what happens is when they undergo a process of chemical reaction, they can turn into what we call quinones. Now, that's where we get that browning color. Basically those quinones start turning into brown, we get this pigmentation. It's the same idea what's behind like skin color being darker than other colors, right? And as a matter of fact, it all comes down to oxygen. Now it's a little bit more complicated because oxygen doesn't do it by itself. There's an enzyme already inside the avocado. So if we like go down to the cellular level, if we actually look at the chloroplast, or we look at, remember that organelle, the chloroplast, right? Or how about vacuoles, kind of one of the storage areas of the cell. Inside those areas of the cell, in these organelles, you'll find something called the polyphenol oxidase. Basically, that's what causes that switch over from phenol to quinone, alright? It binds with the oxygen, and now we get that speeding up process. So, pretty complicated stuff. All you need to know is there's a chemical reaction, and oxygen doesn't help that chemical reaction. All it does is it speeds it up. Matter of fact, that's the reason why a lot of fruit bruises. When we damage the cellular structure of a fruit, right, it releases that enzyme, and usually oxygen's able to mix in there, and we get that browning of a fruit. So how do we prevent that? Right? That's kind of the big question. So how do we prevent, the browning of, say, potatoes? How do we prevent the browning of bananas and avocados, right, when I chop it up? Well, good question, right? Think about it. If we take away oxygen, right, we take away some of that ability to brown. Not permanently, but think about it. How do we keep it from getting oxygen? Some people say, hey, keep the seeds inside, right? Great, or the pit, I guess you'd say, in the inside. It does a little bit, not a ton. So, what are some better solutions? Some people say put it in water, but even better than that. Citrus fruit has actually done an excellent job of actually blocking out some of the oxygen. So, get your trusty little lime, right? Give it a little squeeze, or a lemon, and if you actually, when you cut it open and you kind of rub a mixture of lemon juice or lime juice, it's actually going to block out the oxygen. Another way you can do it is cling wrap. So like saran wrap or some plastic wrap, if you wrap the little pieces of avocado or say bananas or say potatoes, it's actually going to block out that oxygen from coming in and combining with that enzyme to produce those quinones that creates that little brown coloring. Now that brown coloring is not always bad. Okay, it actually helps fight off bacteria a little bit, and well, in the case of a fruit getting bruised and beaten on the way to the grocery store, hey, maybe that's something that you're not going to want to eat, right? Abused fruit is never good. So, next time you're cutting into avocado or a banana, right, you're letting it sit out, think about it. Maybe some citrus, right, some citrus juices. I've even heard some like vegetable oils or say olive oil get spritzed on there. So, maybe it's a veggie tray you're making, right? Spritz it on there, or a fruit tray. It will keep your fruit, vegetables looking a lot nicer for the time you're about to serve it. So, hopefully that answers your question. Hopefully you can sleep better tonight. Let's try to keep that oxygen away. Alright, see you until next video.